Fear is something we've all experienced. It's that tightness in your chest, that little voice whispering, what if it all goes wrong? But here's the truth that no one talks about. Fear is not reality. It's just a feeling, not a fact. It feels real, so real that it can paralyze you, make your heart race, and your mind spin out of control. But just because it feels real doesn't mean it's true. Fear is your mind trying to protect you, but sometimes it goes too far, turning caution into crippling anxiety. Understanding this distinction can change everything. Think about it. How many times have you feared something only to realize, in hindsight, that it was never as bad as you imagined? Your mind created a story about what might happen, and you believed it. Maybe you feared speaking up at a meeting because you thought everyone would judge you. But when you finally gathered the courage to speak, people listened and maybe even agreed with you. Fear had you convinced of an outcome that never came to pass. Fear is like a fog. It clouds your vision, making obstacles seem bigger and scarier than they really are. But once you step through it, you realize that there was nothing substantial behind it. The tricky part is that fear often disguises itself as rational thinking. It says, I'm just being realistic, or I'm only trying to be cautious, but in reality, it's keeping you small. Fear is the mind's way of trying to protect you from potential pain or embarrassment. It means well, but it doesn't know how to differentiate between genuine threats and opportunities for growth. Fear is that overprotective friend who always advises you to stay home instead of taking a chance on a new adventure. Sure, you might stay safe, but you also miss out on the incredible experiences that life has to offer. What if you stopped seeing fear as a stop sign and started viewing it as a signal? What if, instead of letting it control you, you leaned into it? Fear isn't trying to sabotage you, it's actually pointing you towards something that matters to you. When you're afraid, it's often because you're on the brink of something big, something that could change your life. The next time you feel fear, instead of retreating, ask yourself, what's on the other side of this fear? What's the worst that could really happen? 9 times out of 10, the worst case scenario you're dreading is unlikely to happen. And if it did, it probably wouldn't be as bad as you're imagining. Remember, fear will always be there. You can't eliminate it completely, and you wouldn't want to. Fear serves a purpose. It's there to keep you alert, to nudge you to prepare. But it's not meant to control your decisions. The next time fear comes knocking, acknowledge it. Thank it for trying to protect you, and then make your own choice. Because once you understand that fear is just a feeling, not a fact, you reclaim your power. And when you take your power back, that's when your world starts to open up. The truth is, life is messy. It's not a perfectly paved road with clear signs leading you to success. It's more like a winding path full of detours, dead ends, and unexpected bumps. And that's where so many people get stuck. They believe that if it's messy, it means something's wrong. But here's the reality: messiness is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you're living, that you're trying, that you're growing. If you're constantly waiting for everything to be perfect before you take the next step, you'll be waiting your entire life. Growth is messy, progress is messy, and anything worthwhile is usually surrounded by chaos. We live in a world where perfection is glorified, where social media shows you the highlight reel, not the behind-the-scenes struggles. But nobody talks about the sleepless nights, the self-doubt, or the times when you just want to give up. It's easy to look at someone else's success and think they have it all figured out, but trust me, they've dealt with their own mess along the way. Every person who's achieved something great has faced confusion, failure, and uncertainty. The difference is they didn't let the mess stop them. They leaned into it, knowing that growth isn't neat and tidy. The messiness of the journey is where you truly find out what you're made of. It's in those moments when everything feels like it's falling apart that you discover your resilience, your grit, your strength. Think about it, the biggest breakthroughs often come right after everything seemed like it was falling apart. It's the discomfort, the chaos, and the mess that force you to dig deep, to find creative solutions, and to push yourself further than you thought possible. When you stop fearing the mess and start embracing it, You realize that every challenge is actually an opportunity to evolve into a stronger, wiser version of yourself. There will be days when you feel lost, when nothing goes according to plan. That's not a sign to give up, it's a sign that you're on the right path. The journey isn't supposed to be smooth. If it was, everyone would be doing it. It's the mess that separates those who succeed from those who give up. The mess is where you learn patience, where you learn to trust yourself, and where you learn to keep going even when there's no clear end in sight. Embracing the mess means letting go of the illusion of control and surrendering to the process, trusting that it will lead you exactly where you're meant to be. So let go of the need for everything to be perfect. Let go of the idea that if things get messy, it means you're failing. Embrace the fact that life is unpredictable, that plans will change, and that sometimes the best opportunities come from the messiest moments. When you can do that, you free yourself to take risks, to dream bigger, and to keep moving forward, even when things aren't perfect. Because the truth is, the most beautiful parts of life are often found in the mess. The mess is where you learn, where you grow, and where you become the person you were always meant to be. Failure. It's a word that sends chills down most people's spines. We're conditioned from an early age to fear it, to avoid it at all costs, to see it as a sign that we're not good enough. But let me tell you something, failure isn't the end of the road. In fact, it's the beginning of something new, something powerful. When you fail, it doesn't mean you've reached the final chapter. It just means that you've closed one door and another one is waiting to be opened. Failure is life's way of redirecting you toward a different path, one that you may not have considered, but one that might be exactly where you're supposed to go. Think back to a time when something didn't work out the way you planned. Maybe you didn't get that promotion, your business idea didn't take off, or a relationship fell apart. At the time, it probably felt like your world was crumbling. But if you look closely, you'll realize that those moments were often turning points. They forced you to dig deeper, to reevaluate what you truly wanted, and to find strength you didn't know you had. Failure is a teacher. It gives you the lessons that success simply can't. It's the discomfort and pain of failure that often propel you to grow, to innovate, and to push yourself beyond the limits you thought were fixed. Here's the thing, most people give up right when they're on the brink of a breakthrough. They see failure as a sign to stop trying when, in reality, it's a signal to try harder, to think differently, or to pivot. What if you saw failure not as a setback, but as a setup for your comeback? The truth is, some of the most successful people in the world failed repeatedly before they succeeded. Oprah herself was told she wasn't fit for television. Walt Disney was fired for lacking creativity, but they didn't let failure define them, they used it to fuel their dreams. They understood that failure wasn't a dead end, it was the beginning of their journey to greatness. Failure also humbles you. It strips away the ego and forces you to confront your fears, your weaknesses, and the areas where you need to grow. That's not a bad thing. In fact, it's necessary. When you fail, it builds resilience and character. It teaches you that falling down is not the problem, it's whether you get back up that defines who you are. Each failure is like a stepping stone. It's not a block in your path, it's part of the path itself. The question is, are you willing to keep walking, even when the road is rough and uncertain? The beauty of failure is that it brings you back to the basics, to what truly matters. It strips away the fluff and forces you to focus on what you really want. Maybe that business that failed wasn't aligned with your passion, or that job that let you go was never meant for you. When you embrace failure as a beginning rather than an end, you allow yourself to see the bigger picture. You let go of the fear of failing and instead embrace the possibility of something greater. The moment you stop seeing failure as a verdict on your worth and start seeing it as the birth of something new, that's when everything changes. That's when you realize that failure is not the end of your story. It's the start of a new chapter waiting to be written. Resilience is one of the most powerful forces within you, even if you don't realize it yet. It's that inner strength that helps you get back up when life knocks you down, that quiet determination that keeps you going when everything in you wants to give up. But here's the thing, resilience isn't about being unbreakable or pretending that you're never affected by hardship. It's about getting back up again and again, no matter how many times you fall. True resilience doesn't mean avoiding struggle, it means embracing it, knowing that every challenge you face is shaping you into a stronger, more capable version of yourself. Think about the hardest moments in your life. Those moments when you felt like everything was falling apart, when you were at your lowest point. You might have felt broken, lost, or completely defeated. But look at where you are now. You survived. Those difficult experiences did not defeat you, they made you stronger. They taught you that you have a well of strength within you that you never knew existed. Resilience is born in those dark, uncertain times when you have to dig deep to find the strength to keep moving forward. It's the ability to stand firm, even when life is trying to break you. The truth is, resilience is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Every time you face a setback, every time you encounter a disappointment, you have a choice. You can let it break you, or you can use it as a stepping stone to rise higher. The people who achieve great things in life aren't the ones who've never faced adversity. They're the ones who've learned how to turn adversity into fuel. They understand that resilience is not just a trait you're born with, but a skill you can develop. And the more you develop it, the less you'll be afraid of life's inevitable challenges, because you'll know that no matter what happens, you have the power to rise again. Resilience also means letting go of the need to control everything. Life is unpredictable, and no matter how carefully you plan, things will go wrong. But when you're resilient, you learn to adapt. You learn that the only thing you truly have control over is your response to what happens. Resilient people don't dwell on what went wrong, they focus on what they can do next. They don't see setbacks as the end of the road, but as a redirection towards something better. The moment you stop fighting the waves and start riding them, that's when you truly tap into your power. You stop being afraid of the storm because you know that no matter how strong the winds, you can navigate through it. In the end, your resilience is what defines you. It's not the number of times you fall that matters, it's the number of times you get back up. It's about learning to trust yourself, to believe that no matter what life throws your way, you have what it takes to overcome it. Life will test you, but it's through those tests that you discover just how powerful you truly are. The more you lean into your resilience, the more you realize that nothing, no failure, no loss, no rejection has the power to keep you down. Your resilience is your superpower. It's the quiet strength that says, I may bend, but I will never break. Your past is a part of your story, but it does not have to dictate your future. Too often, we carry the weight of our past mistakes, failures, and regrets like a heavy anchor, convinced that it defines who we are today. But here's the truth, your past is just a collection of moments, choices, and experiences. It's not a life sentence. Whatever you've been through, whatever you've done, it doesn't have to limit who you can become. You are not the sum of your past actions. You are the result of how you choose to grow from them. Every day is a new opportunity to rewrite your story. It's easy to get trapped in the belief that because you made a mistake, you are a mistake. But there is a huge difference between the two. Mistakes, failures, and missteps are part of being human. They do not define your worth or your potential. The beauty of life is that it is constantly changing, constantly evolving, and so are you. Just because something happened in your past doesn't mean it has to dictate the rest of your life. You have the power to break free from whatever narrative you've been telling yourself. You can choose right now to release the past and step into a new version of yourself. Letting go of your past is not about denying it or pretending it never happened. It's about learning from it and choosing to rise above it. The challenges, heartbreaks, and mistakes you faced were not meant to break you, but to build you. Every experience you've been through has taught you something, even if it was painful. The key is to see your past not as a chain that holds you back, but as a stepping stone that can propel you forward. It's about transforming your pain into power, your regrets into wisdom, and your scars into strength. When you shift your perspective, you realize that your past was not a prison, it was a lesson. One of the most liberating things you can do is forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for the choices you made when you didn't know better, for the things you did out of fear or insecurity. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. Holding on to guilt and shame only serves to keep you stuck. It's time to release the past and recognize that you are not defined by your worst days. You are defined by how you rise after those days, by how you choose to heal, grow, and move forward. You can't change what happened, but you can change how it influences you from this moment on. The truth is, the future is yours to shape, no matter where you've come from or what you've been through. Your past is simply one chapter in your story, and the best part is that you hold the pen. You have the power to write a new ending, to create a life that is bigger, bolder, and more fulfilling than you ever imagined. Don't let the shadows of yesterday dim the light of tomorrow. Embrace the fact that your past has no hold over you unless you let it. Every sunrise is proof that you can begin again. So let go, move forward, and remember your past does not define you. Only you have that power. The people, environments, and energies you surround yourself with have a profound impact on your life. Think of yourself as a sponge, constantly absorbing the energy around you. If you're surrounded by negativity, criticism, and doubt, it's only a matter of time before it starts to seep into your mind, affecting your mood, your thoughts, and ultimately your actions. But when you intentionally choose to surround yourself with positive energy people who uplift, inspire, and support you, everything changes. You become more resilient, more optimistic, and more confident in your ability to take on whatever life throws your way. One of the biggest mistakes we make is underestimating the influence of our environment. It's easy to say you'll stay positive no matter what, but if you're constantly around negativity, that energy will slowly start to chip away at your spirit. This doesn't just apply to people, but also to the spaces you inhabit and the content you consume. The conversations you have, the shows you watch, the social media accounts you follow, they all have the power to either drain your energy or replenish it. It's not about living in a bubble and avoiding anything negative, but about being mindful of what you let into your life. Choose environments and experiences that align with the person you want to become. Positive energy is contagious, just like negativity. When you're surrounded by people who believe in you, who cheer you on, and who are genuinely happy for your success, it's like fuel for your soul. You feel more energized, more creative, and more willing to take risks. Positive people remind you of your strengths, even when you've forgotten them yourself. They encourage you to keep going, even when you feel like giving up. That's why it's so important to be intentional about who you allow into your inner circle. Not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Surround yourself with those who lift you up, not those who weigh you down. But surrounding yourself with positive energy isn't just about what you take in, it's also about what you put out. You have the power to create positive energy wherever you go. Smile more often, practice gratitude, and be the kind of person who lights up a room when you walk in. When you focus on the good, you attract more of it into your life. This doesn't mean ignoring the tough stuff or pretending everything is perfect, but it does mean choosing to focus on the silver linings. When you radiate positivity, you not only change your own life, but also inspire those around you to do the same. In the end, your energy is one of your most valuable resources. Protect it fiercely. Be willing to let go of toxic relationships, draining environments, and negative influences, even if it's difficult. Prioritize your peace, your joy, and your well-being. Life is too short to be weighed down by negativity. By surrounding yourself with positive energy, you open yourself up to new opportunities, new perspectives, and a brighter, more fulfilling life. Remember, you become like the people you spend the most time with, so choose wisely. The more positive energy you invite into your life, the more you'll see your dreams, your goals, and your happiness flourish. Pain is something we all experience. It's a universal truth that at some point life will knock you down, break your heart, or take something precious away. But here's the thing, pain, while it's a part of life, doesn't have to be your destination. Instead of letting it consume you, you can transform it into something meaningful. The most powerful thing you can do with your pain is to turn it into a purpose. The struggles you go through, the hard edges you endure, they can become the fuel that drives you to create something beautiful, something that not only heals you, but also inspires others. When you face pain head-on, you begin to see that it has a lesson buried within it. It's in the moments of deep suffering that you often discover who you truly are, what you truly value, and what you're truly value, and what you're capable of. Maybe it's the loss of a job that pushes you to finally pursue your passion, or the end of a relationship that forces you to find your own strength. When you choose to turn your pain into purpose, you shift from being a victim of your circumstances to being the author of your story. You take that pain and say, "This will not break me. Instead, I will use it to build something even stronger." Turning pain into purpose doesn't mean you forget about the hurt or pretend it never happened. It means you find a way to take that pain and channel it into something that brings light to others. Think about those who've turned their deepest wounds into their greatest missions. People who faced illness and started foundations, those who've survived abuse and become advocates, or those who faced unimaginable loss and used it to comfort others. These people didn't let their pain be the end of their story. They turned it into a powerful force for good, impacting lives far beyond their own. When you do the same, you not only heal yourself, but also become a beacon of hope for others. The key to turning pain into purpose is to ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this experience to help someone else? The pain you've endured may be exactly what someone else needs to hear in order to find the strength to keep going. Your story, your journey, your healing can become the blueprint for someone else's survival. It's about taking something that once hurt you deeply and using it to uplift others. When you find a way to turn your pain into purpose, you not only change your life, but also create a ripple effect that changes the lives of countless others. Ultimately, your pain can become your superpower. It's the thing that sets you apart, that gives you a unique perspective, that allows you to connect with others on a deeper level. Life's challenges can either break you or transform you. The choice is yours. When you choose to turn your pain into a purpose, you reclaim your power. You show the world, and most importantly yourself, that nothing can keep you down. The pain you've been through is not your identity, it's your catalyst. Use it to create something that matters, something that leaves the world better than you found it. That's how you turn your deepest wounds into your greatest strengths. Believing in your worth is one of the hardest yet most crucial things you will ever do. In a world that constantly tries to measure you by its own standards, your looks, your job title, your bank account, your social status, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking you're not good enough. But here's the reality: your worth is not up for negotiation. It's not something that's defined by other people's opinions or external achievements. It's something that comes from within. You have to anchor yourself in the unwavering belief that you are enough just as you are, even if no one else sees it. There will be times when the world doesn't acknowledge your value, when people overlook your potential, or when you face rejection after rejection. In those moments, it's easy to doubt yourself. But remember this: the opinions of others don't diminish your worth. You are not defined by the judgments or criticisms of those who fail to see your light. Often, the greatest successes come not because the world believed in you, but because you believed in yourself. Self-belief is your foundation, the rock that keeps you standing tall when the winds of doubt and negativity try to knock you down. Believing in your worth is not about arrogance or thinking you're better than others. It's about recognizing that you are worthy of love, success, happiness, and all the good things life has to offer simply because you exist. It's about giving yourself permission to go after your dreams, even when others think they're too big or too unrealistic. You have to be your own biggest cheerleader because, let's be honest, not everyone is going to clap for you. There will be people who don't understand your journey, who doubt your potential, who project their own insecurities onto you. But that's not your problem. Keep believing, keep pushing, keep striving. The world often waits for you to prove yourself before it starts to believe in you. But if you wait for that validation, you might be waiting forever. The most successful, fulfilled people didn't wait for permission to pursue their dreams. They trusted their own value. They took risks, faced rejection, and kept going despite the naysayers because they understood that their worth was not tied to other people's approval. So when the world says, you can't, you have to say, watch me. When others doubt you, let it be fuel that pushes you even harder. Your belief in your worth is the greatest weapon you have against the world's doubts. Ultimately, believing in your worth is a lifelong journey. There will be days when you're filled with confidence and days when you're struggling to hold on to even a shred of self-belief. That's okay. What matters is that you keep coming back to that deep inner knowing that you are enough, that you are worthy of everything you desire. You might not always feel it, but it's there, that quiet, unshakable truth that you are valuable beyond measure. Hold on to it, nurture it. Because when you believe in your worth, even when no one else does, you become unstoppable. You rise, you grow, and you transform into the person you were always meant to be.